And welcome back to another episode of the Blue Review. This is Parker Bell, and you could probably hear our song going off in the background as I'm paying attention to the YouTube chat, and I got that started a little too early. But
That's okay.
welcome, Parker Bell, alongside Greg Bergman to the Blue Review. We got a series opener dub. Teoscar continues to just absolutely rake, and the lineup isn't even at its full potential. I don't know. We'll get into that. Freddie said some cool comments. But before we get into anything, Greg, I just want to remind everyone that the Blue Reviews presented by LAX, our friends at Los Angeles International Airport, are changing the travel experience all the time, reducing traffic, saving guests time, and, just make things better for the traveler. And if you want to learn more, you can find that out at flylax.com/transforming LAX. Getting more and more confident with that read. I love our friends at LAX so much that it's just rolling off the tongue.
Nicely
So, Greg,
done.
I'm going to toss this to you. You had something fun you wanted to get into. And first off, just hello to everyone in the chat. Greg, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, what's up, Chad? Make sure to put in any kind of questions that you got going on right now, and Parker will be paying attention to them. Throw them up on the screen, and then we'll absolutely answer anything. It can be anything that you want, but I think it might be something to do with this. I realized yesterday, Parker, that I need a villain. I need a villain in all of my teams. There has to be a villain on every single team that I watch, and I think it's important for me as a person. I can't like everybody on my team. That's just how it works. It used to be Pedro Baez. Drove me absolutely insane. And it's still to this day, people say, oh, is this person your new Pedro Baez? I think I need to decide, and maybe you can help me out with it, who my new Pedro Baez is. And maybe you can tell me who your people are in the chat, who your villains are. So I'm trying to choose between two. And let me explain this to you. So
the chat might already know.
No, I think they absolutely know who it is. I'm very, very clear about who it is. But Nazbil Crismatt was sent down, and Dinelson Lamet was brought up. And on our friends at Dodger Blue posted that whole thing, and I said, like, you misspelled Alex Vezia. And so, when everything was going on with that, I was like, I have a villain now. Alex Vezia is my villain. So, but I don't know if I want it to be him or Gavin Lux, because I really want Gavin Lux to do well, though. That's the difference. If Alex Vezia is no longer on this team, I'm not going to shed a tear or not be worried about it in any sense. So, do you understand where I'm trying to go with this? Do you have a villain that you kind of need? Do you feel, are you completely the opposite of me and just love everyone on your team?
Okay, so I have a question for you first, because I think I do understand where you're coming from, but I want a little clarity. Is the point of having a villain in your mind, is this to kind of off? I don't know. Is it to balance, like, if I get my hopes up too much, then I'm going to be hurt more when the Dodgers lose? Is this some sort of way to, like, kind of cope? Like, as long as I have a villain and he's the one who messes up, I can't really be mad at the loss.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Yeah, I think that's partly to do with it. It says something like, oh, see, Alex Vezia, look what he did. He walked the bases loaded. He hit a guy. He only gave up one, but it was one that made a big difference in that game. Like, those are the types of things that it makes me feel better about. I guess I love everybody on this team. I need somebody else to actually have some vitriol too, It's always been like that, though. It's with the Lakers, it was Kyle Kuzma, and then it was D'Lo. So I think there's a little bit of this, the reverse jinx. Like, D'Lo was my villain this year for the Lakers. He got way better. Ever since I started hating on him, it all got better. At least that's what it is in my mind. I don't know if it's true, but in my mind, I fixed him by hating on him. You see what I'm saying?
So are you saying Dodgers should keep Vezia and maybe he'll have some sort of run?
If he goes on a run, I'm taking full credit for the reverse jinx. If he doesn't, it actually makes sense. And I'll say, you got to get rid of him. I think this makes sense. I don't know. Does it not make sense to you?
You know what? It does make sense, and I understand where you're coming from. But I think I am the opposite. I don't necessarily have villains. I think on this specific Dodgers team, I've had villains of the past on my team where I'm just like, please, why are they coming out right now? I think Lakers, like you said, there's some good examples in the past. But for me, I'm more along the lines of Ruben Flores here, who in the chat says the whole Giants team is my villain.
That's just sure, absolutely.
Just seeing the Giants lose last night was satisfying, and it kind of filled my void of that, villain. I was like, okay, good. We're good. We got the villains out of the way. I mean, season opener out of the way.
So one of the things that I also love doing is yesterday on Twitter, I wrote this thing about the Dodgers about like it's how amazing the top of the lineup is because they went 8 of 13 with 5 RBIs, 6 runs, a couple walks, and it was just a ridiculous number from the 1 through 4 in the Mookie show. Hey, Freddie, Will Smith, which is just insane. It doesn't when they're hitting like that, it's going to be no. It doesn't matter who's pitching. It's going to be that good. But a Giants fan came into the chat and was just like, "Oh yeah, that was against your seventh starter," and I love to then just quote tweet it and allow everybody else to just kind of take it over for me and just kill the guy and it was just all last night throughout the rest of the game. All the way through this morning, I'm still getting notifications about how the people going back and forth with this Giants fan. I think it's just so amazing. That's what sports is about. Having that villain on the other side, having the Giants versus the Dodgers. That doesn't happen with the Padres. That's why the Padres are never going to be like a true rival. The Giants are a true rival.
Yeah, I mean, this is as like we're looking at. I mean, as the NCAA tournament's going on, and we're talking about all these blue bloods. You got 2 blue blood teams who just hate each other, and that's like the best thing baseball that could happen to baseball. And I just like to see it, nonstop. We're seeing Twitter just go at each other, like you mentioned. But I don't know. Sticking to this villain topic. I mean, I think, unfortunately, I think Messi is just the.
It's too easy. Is it too easy?
For me,
it can't be Joe Kelly, right? Like Joe Kelly was kind of iffy again yesterday, but
I mean,
he gave a run. He was giving up hits, like
3 hits.
But I trust Joe Kelly, and I love Joe Kelly for Mariachi Joe, for him with the face that he sent to Carlos Correa, all those things.
Like, that's the thing. It's like some guys just become team heroes for stuff. Sometimes it's outside of their performance, and Joe Kelly has had performances himself that solidified himself as like trustworthy, but still even outside he's like you can't call this guy a villain. He's just he's a Dodger legend at this point.
Yeah, he's a legend. There's nothing that can be done about that. So no villain from Joe Kelly. Yes on Vezina. Are we going to Lux? Is Lux but we genuinely want Lux to do well, right?
Yeah, see, that's why I don't know if we could call him plus also the fielding hasn't been bad, so it's like the main thing we were concerned about was the fielding, and it's actually been the hitting that's been bad. So maybe at the moment I can call him a villain. Maybe I can call him a villain. But it is also tough to call somebody who's like my same age a villain because I do want him to just succeed. I'm like, come on, you're my bro. Like, we gotta succeed for the young guys, the 26-year-olds.
But so is that millennial? Is that Gen Z? Like, what are you?
Technically Z, yeah. Z? Oh, I think I might be the start of it. I know. I was talking with someone about this the other day, and I was actually kind of sad. I was like, "Dang it, I am Z."
But you're on like the cusp of Z. So like you're
on the very cusp.
You're between millennial and Z, where I was like millennial and X cusp. So you're at the end point where you're not actually fully in it. So I understand what you're talking
like
about.
I still, and people in the chat can make fun of me for this, but I still call myself a 90s baby. Even though I guess I only had like 3.5 years of it.
So you were born in the 90s. That's what. You're okay. Yeah. You're all right. But either way, like Gavin Lux, what's interesting about him is that every single one of his hits, and this happened in very early on in spring training, every single one of his hits are singles. He is showing no power whatsoever and he's striking out. And this is my whole thing when it comes to him, is that he's here for his bat. If he's not showing his bat, then why are we putting just an ordinary defender in the field with no bat? So you'll give him time. You're going to give him 2 months possibly to get it all kind of figure it all out. But if he's not showing his bat and he's just okay defensively, I would rather move Mookie back to second base, put Rojas, who's a good to above average defender, and just an okay bat in the lineup. You're getting the same thing, but a better defensive player. And Mookie moves to a spot where he's just better. He's not been great at shortstop right now.
Yeah. I mean, also hasn't been terrible, and there was a nice article about him also that came out yesterday and just about doubters and how, he's looking to prove him wrong, and just Miguel Rojas saying he's the hardest worker. We could get into that another time. But speaking of power, I mean, we gotta touch on Teoscar just a little bit. I mean, listen, the number 6 hitter and the number 1 hitter are leading the league in home run. I know it's early, but still, you called it, Greg. You called it. You were on the Teoscar train before any of us, saying that 1 through 3 is basically going to scare pitchers so much that someone is going to benefit. Actually, Will's been starting off pretty good too.
No, he's been great.
He's been amazing on the plate. And let's just speak on Teoscar a little bit. I mean, 4 home runs in 4 games. Ugh.
So it's 4 home runs and 16 at bats, but it was 4 home runs in his last 15 at bats. That's before, like, when as soon as you hit the first home run, it's basically 4 home runs in his last 16 at bats, which is just out of control. He's seeing the ball really well. The only thing that's interesting about him is that he is a typical strikeout or home run guy. He'll hit a couple doubles and he'll hit other things, but for the most part, he strikes out half the time. Before the game yesterday, he had 48 at bats 24 at bats and 12 strikeouts. He was 50-50 on strikeouts to at bats, which is pretty insane. But he's one of those dudes that just get forgotten about. He was a former All-Star, so of course he was going to do well. But at the same time, people are like, oh, okay, $12 million. He's deferring at some of it. There's a lot of things that are going on, but he's down in the 6th spot. He was a guy that always had the power, and just by being here, hitting home runs, he shows who he is. He lets you know, like, hey, I want to win a World Series, and then I'll go get my multi-year deal next year. He is a definition of a team player that wants that ring, which I think is very important to a team. It happened a lot with the Golden State Warriors back in the day. It happened with the Lakers too, back in the early 2000s. Just guys wanting to be on the team because they knew they were going to go to the World Series and the NBA championship or whatever it be. You kind of latch on, get what you need to get out of it, get the championship, and then move on and get a big payday. So yeah, I love Teoscar so far.
And the underrated part of Teoscar that kind of goes under the radar is just the bromance and the vibe that he brings. He's just one of those guys, you know. I mean, I think I've mentioned this before, you know, sometimes there are certain players, and it happens a lot from the DR, who just have fun, more fun than a lot of other baseball players. And this guy, Teoscar, will already, I mean, we're like 6-7 games in, and he's just out here having bromances with Shohei, you know, language barrier or not. He's like, I'm here for the vibes, and we're going to have a good time. I think he's going to be a fan favorite immediately. I mean, I see the chat already calling him Teo. That's great.
That's
Shout out Clumsy Chrissy for that. Ohtani, real quick, since we're kind of talking about the bromance between him and Teoscar, sure. I see Casper V in the chat. He says, when is Ohtani going to hit a home run? What a bust. If you're checking in with us, how about you kind of put in the chat when you think Ohtani will get that home run, predict when you'll have the home run. I did say in the opening series that he's going to do it in this series against the Giants. So you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go. I'm saying he does it tonight.
So he has Logan Webb tonight. That's going to be a little bit of a harder one to get off of. But
all the more reason to step up.
I think this is what's going on right now. It just seems like he is pressing too much for that first home run as a Dodger. You see it happen a lot with a lot of players when they're trying to get to home run 500 or home run 400 or get to your win 200 or whatever it happens to be. When you're trying to get to that number that you're looking for, you're pressing and you're trying too hard, and that's when it doesn't happen. He's still hitting the ball very, very hard. That double he hit was the hardest base hit in Dodger history in the StatCast era. Like, that's kind of ridiculous in itself. I understand that it's only since 2015 that the StatCast era, but still, he's hitting the ball just incredibly hard, and he will get one out of the park at some point. He just needs to loosen up. Kind of, Oral was talking about it yesterday. He's changing his mindset at the plate. He's trying to just hit to the middle of the field instead of the out to the the outsides. So I think he's going to get it. I would hope that he gets it today. I'm going to say he gets it tomorrow though.
Okay, I like it. I got today. You got tomorrow. We have some predictions in the stat as well, saying Ohtani will have a 2 home run game soon. He's due.
It's a good point. Like, when he hits one, you're going to see it in bunches.
Exactly.
Once he gets that first one, it's just going to go like home run, home run, home run. He's going to get, but by the end of the year, he's going to have 40 to 50 home runs. That's just going to happen. It's just early. I think he's pressing.
Yeah. And Ryan R., I see you in the chat to your point. He says, I haven't seen Ohtani do the CPR on his bat like he used to when he was struggling with the Angels. You know, he technically is still producing, and he isn't having like a massive slump. So I'd say hopefully we don't have to see the CPR. But if he does really want a home run, maybe he could pull that out, the CPR thing.
So what was it like? You saw all the Angels games last year. What was he? What was he actually doing?
Oh, I
Like
mean,
he would
he would.
like get down and he'd be pressing on the bat.
It's funny. He would do certain things like that, and then sometimes he would even like look like he's breathing on the bat. He has some superstitious things that you wouldn't expect from Shohei because he seems like he's just a quiet guy, but he'll do little things like that to kind of get himself back in the groove.
He's a baseball player. Baseball
Oh
players
yeah,
are all
right. All
superstitious.
there, exactly. But why don't we kind of get into the lineup a little more? Freddie made a comment. Speaking of, Freddie had a great game yesterday. 3 for 4, 2 RBIs. Continues to just
Nice little double.
exactly
Nice
that
hitting
slide.
doubles again.
Did you also
Important to
see that? Did you see that slide?
That was great. That was an incredible slide. He completely contorted his body, was
Yeah.
moving around. The guy missed the tag. It was great.
I mean, all of Twitter was just all the memes of saying best base runner in baseball. I loved it. I mean, it's kind of a running joke that, Freddie, he had the whatever it was, 20 plus steals, and he's the best base runner. Unironically, he is a great base runner. I know he's
He
not the
is.
fastest, but incredible IQ. But speaking about something he mentioned about the lineup, he says, let's see, where was it? He says, it's just fun. If you would talk to a lot of us, though, we would say we're actually not feeling the best, but we're still getting hits. Is this lineup even at its full potential? Craig,
No,
what are we
God,
seeing?
no, absolutely not. Look at the bottom of the lineup. Your 7, 8, 9 hitters are basically doing absolutely nothing. I mean, I know Austin Barnes got a hit yesterday, but that's not, or the other day, but that's not going to happen very often. Gavin Lux not hitting. Chris Taylor not really hitting when he's in the lineup. Jason Hayward wasn't hitting, and he just got a little bit injured. I haven't seen anything more in it recently, but hopefully he's okay and he can make it back into the lineup. And James Outman has been a mess. He is totally lost at the plate right now. I'm sure that'll all get fixed, but the bottom of the lineup, your 7, 8, 9, is a problem at the moment. It's a dead spot in the lineup. I think all that'll get better. And to your point, it will become something that it's get to its full potential because it's not there right now. Absolutely.
But with all that being said, they've scored 5 or more runs since every single game. So just the fact that they're still doing that, and Freddie's out here saying we're not feeling our best, the league should be scared. I think there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, because look what happened. Look what just happened in that 1-4 last night. 8 of 13 is just a stupid number. That's a silly number. That shouldn't happen. I don't care who's pitching. The 4 of those guys just doing that consistently and putting up 5 RBIs, 6 runs. That's something that's going to happen like quite often.
Yeah. So
not every game. Don't expect it every game. But if they do it against Logan Webb tonight, like beware.
Yeah, I went to check real quick just to see how sad Outman's start to the season has been. 111,
yeah,
not good. Yeah, 2 hits and 15 at bats, 7 strikeouts.
I don't think Lux is all that much better. No, he's not. He's batting 174, and this is what we're talking about. Lux, his on base percentage and his slugging percentage is the same. That means he's getting on only because of hits. He's getting on only because of his singles. He's not walking, he's striking out, and he's just getting a couple singles. That is a problem.
Yeah, it's tough, and we'll have to monitor this throughout the season. But hey, how did you feel about the Big Maple yesterday, Paxton?
Yeah, I thought Big Maple was good enough. He was a little bit wild. Yeah. He had like 97, 95 pitches in 5 innings. That's not going to get it done. That's going to be a problem. So he went 5, gave him no runs, but he also walked 5 guys. And when you walk 5 guys, that means that you're allowing base runners on to you have full bases a good amount of time, and you're going to get beat up sometimes. You're going to give up a hit that's going to score some runs. It's going to be a problem. So hopefully, look, he's the 5th starter, and that's going to be something that's going to happen every once in a while, and hopefully he can figure out just not be so wild, and he'll be just fine. But because of that, and I'm going to move this on to the next thing, is that there's a bullpen day today. And that was something that Dave Roberts said, we're not going to do 6-man rotations. We're not going to do it. Well, it's been one time through the lineup, and they're doing a 6-man rotation right away and having a bullpen day when it was supposed to be Tyler Glasnow today. Glasnow got pushed to tomorrow. So you're seeing it already, that 6-man rotation about going in. And so you're going to see a lot of Ryan Yarbrough. You're going to see a lot of Michael Grove, some kind of opener. But that's what's happening today.
Which, I mean, I don't know what Dave was necessarily. I mean, I think I understand where he was wanting to go with that, but to be honest, I'm okay with a bullpen day if Yarbrough is like your, the guy that you
Bolt
have
guy.
to that fall on. That's perfectly fine. He was showing out in the spring. He looked great, and of course, Michael Grove's got some nasty stuff, and you could just keep
Yep.
going down the line. Plus, also they just keep. I'm sorry, but there are some names that just keep getting either DFA'd and added up. Who I'm like, whoa, wait, who? And then all of a sudden they throw two scoreless innings. It's the Dodgers just know what they're doing, and I think
Yep.
they'll be fine. But it might not be, to his point, a 6-man rotation for long, being that, I think we kind of touched on this yesterday. Buehler having some rehab assignments out with I think he was with the Quakes, right? Yeah, he was with the AAA
No, he
squad
was. Yeah, he
or
was.
down.
Yes, he was.
Okay,
He
yeah,
was
yeah,
in
yeah.
AAA.
Oh, the Quakes are the single A.
Yeah.
I'm an IE boy. I'm an Inland Empire boy, so
Yeah.
the Quakes are always on my mind. But just to see that,
No, it was Oklahoma City. He was with Oklahoma City.
yeah. The fact that he went out 54 pitches, he was kind of topping out at 95. We want to see that velo get a little bit up, but he's in good spirits. And I mean, he was looking good until he, I think, reached about the third, fourth inning.
Yeah, third and fourth inning would kind of took him out. When he comes back, I don't know why he wouldn't stick with a 6-man rotation. This team needs a 6-man rotation, and I'm totally fine with it. Because the old school baseball head says that it needs to be a 5-man rotation because that's how we did it in my day, is not a thing anymore. The pitchers that are on this Dodgers roster benefit from a 6-man rotation. Every single one of them. Tyler Glass now has an injury history. He can benefit from that 6-man rotation. Bobby Miller, still a young guy. He probably is used to that 5-man, but he could benefit from an extra day off. Yoshinobu Yamamoto always had a 6-man rotation, so he's used to it. When it gets Gavin Stone, another young guy, same kind of thing. And Paxton, just like Glasnow, injury history could very much benefit from a 6-man. And when Walker Buehler comes back, he's coming off his second Tommy John. You think he can't benefit from an extra day off? Of course he can. So a 6-man rotation just makes sense. And if you're just throwing Walker Buehler into the middle of that 6-man rotation, oh, sorry, I'm so upset by that. Like it's a great thing to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I mean, with the lineup producing how it is, with the way that so far, the only thing we've really seen issues with is maybe some middle relief. We hope that Joe Kelly can kind of turn things around.
Sure.
We'll see where your villain will stand by the I don't even know what to give him. I don't know to give him a timeline.
Villain Vezia,
VV. We'll
DFA
see how
Vezia.
that goes down. But what time's the game tonight? The bullpen, is it a day game, night game?
It's a 7-10 game. Tuesdays are usually 7-10 games. Wednesdays are usually the days that I think Wednesday is also a 7-10 game, but it will be early on Wednesdays when it's a getaway day when they have Thursday off or they're flying out. So they're off on Thursday, but it's still a 7-10 game.
Awesome. Well, I know you'll be tapped in for sure now that you got your
keep your mouth shut.
Now that you got a way to watch it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I would always find a way to watch things.
And let's just say that I appreciate the chat for checking in. Happy Victory Tuesday. It's always good to see the Giants go down. Shout out to Teo, which might be a fun little tongue twister the rest of the season. I think we'll end it here, and we will directly go into Travis and Sliwa, which it's Travis and DeMarco today.
No, it's Alan and DeMarco today.
Alan and DeMarco, correct. I didn't see that one chair. I'm all trying to look in the studio A. But Greg, I'll let you kind of close this out. Thank you for being here, as always, and thank you to the chat. Ivan Parker Bell, Greg.
Thanks you guys for being here. Be here every day from 9:30 to 9:55. We'll do this every single day, Monday through Friday. And the chat is very important to us. I love how much activity there's going on in the chat. So please always be in there and have discussion with yourself. If you have questions, absolutely one of us Markets will be back tomorrow, and we'll be answering everything then too. For the Blue Review, and thank you to LAX.